Hi, my name is Deepak and I am from India, a citizen of India, and my birth was in India. All the education was happened in India, and I just recently moved to Canada. National language is Hindi, but most of the people speaks Hindi, English, and Punjabi, and there are more languages in the southern part of the India. But majorly, if you calculate the overall is Hindi, and the majorly in professionally is English. English is an integral part of in the education system in India. So I learned English in my education system in India. So that is how I grown up. Because of better life and just to gain some more international exposure, I decided to move to the Nouveau-Brunswick, and specifically Nouveau-Brunswick because it's a very cool and calm place. And if I'll compare with other cities like the Toronto and other, these are very hectic cities. Like if I'll compare with in India, the capital of India is very populated and very dense. And if you have to travel from one place to another place, even for the 5 kilometers, you have an hour for the traveling time. And just to keep in mind everything, I decided to move to this place because it's very relaxed and cool, calm, and even very affordable too. The World Cup is going on, and we are very happy and proud that our team is in the World Cup. So one of the biggest achievement of India, like the Chandrayaan-3, which is a mission for the space, and India has landed in the southern pole of the moon, and we feel very proud when we say that India becomes the 4th country in the world, and he has achieved this mission and within a very reasonable budget. Everyone think of like India is a very poor country, and there very rarely everyone get food. No one likes to go over the India because they might think that it's not a very good country, and there everyone is not educated. They will not feel secure when they visit India. But I'm the born and brought up in India, and I can say that India is a very safe place. And whoever visit India, he just enjoyed in our country with the gesture of hospitality we provide to our guest, and we can say it's a very good place to visit India. And on top of that, people generally think India is a country of where it's a man-dominated country. But where man has more power, man has all the decisions making power, and women only do the household work and just homemaker things. But now things are changing. Earlier things was in this directions, but now things are changing, and now women are participating in each and every aspects of the growth of the country. And as we can see, recently in the space mission, one of our Indian women was the Sunita Chawla was a participant in the space mission. And in most of the cases, you will see in each and every aspect of the growth of the India, like you can take the women business tycoon. You can see women in the sports, they are winning the gold medals. Women now participating in each and everywhere. So now things are changing, and the world's seeing India in a different perspective. India, I think it is the most populated country in the world. I can say this time because it has 1.5 billion peoples living around in India. And the city where I belongs to, it's Haryana. In Haryana, there was around 100 million peoples living over there. And the city where I belongs to, it's specifically the Faridabad, which is very close to the capital, and it's a very populated city, and accordingly everything was just mash up. There are too many people, so that's it. There are basically 4 major religions in India: the Hindu, the Sikh, and Muslim, and one is called Isai. And Hindu is the biggest religion in India, with the more populations or the most peoples are follow Hindu religions. Rest are most are in the minorities. Hindu religion is one of the oldest religion, as I already said, and it follows the goddess culture, the Hinduism culture, where we respect each other, where we do prayer on the daily basis, where we have lots of gods. We wanted to respect each and every religion, not only for the Hindu but for the Christianity, for all the religions. Basically, Hinduism is for respecting each other religions and follow their own. In the southern part of the India, there are more Christianity is there. In the northern part and the middle India, the Hinduism is more, and rest are like the Sikhs and the Isai. There are some just a mix of things. My religion is Hindu, and in India there are many religions are there, because India is a huge country with many populations. We pray on daily basis at our home. We have too many gods which we believe in. Like the most of the religion says they believe only in one god, but we do have 33 crores the goddess in Hinduism. We do have different days for different gods. Like, yeah, so for Monday we worship for Shiva. For Tuesday we generally worship for our the Bajrang Bali. So for Wednesday, so like there are many different days. So we worship on the day basis for different goddess. There are some special days on the year. Like we specifically wait for that day when we worship for specific for that goddess. We have a special festival like the Diwali. On Diwali, we generally worship for the Ganesha and the Lakshmi, just to keep the home peaceful, and the just to worship for the money. The money flow should be running throughout the year. And there are some days where we worship for our one of the goddess named as Sherawali Mata, where we keep fast for 7 days. We just eat fruits those 7 days and worship on each days. We have different like different version of that particular god to worship upon on each days. One of the festival comes named as the Mahashivratri, where we worship for the specific god Shiva. This whole culture, whole administration works like there are many people working just to take care of the a group of people. The similar way our goddess systems work, which I thought, because everyone has different sort of responsibilities. Like if I specifically talk about the Pavan Putra, he generally take care all the heirs in the world. This is how basically it works, because what we learn from and what we seen over in our the one of the granth like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. There are two holy granth in India where we worship them, and according to that we just gain the knowledge of our the goddess system, like how it works and how many and what exactly why they are so many. I think that we do have this small set of the statue of most of the goddess at our home. So we worship on daily basis in the morning. So generally we do not eat anything before praying to them and before offering something to them. So first we in the morning we wake up and just take after the morning things, we just take bath and worship, and then only we eat something. In India, every schools has a goddess at the most of the cases at the entrance. So generally whenever students came, they just worship the god and then enter into the school. Similar way, if possible, we can have the same thing here in Canada, so that whoever following whichever god, so there should be something so that he can pray over there and can enter into the schools. We do have many holidays, but the most important is the one of the biggest festival in India is Diwali. Another we have as Holi. So in Diwali, basically it's again related to the gods, and where gods came back after 14 years of exile, and when they came back their home, they're on the occasion on the happiness of that we celebrate Diwali. So generally in whole India, Diwali is considered as a national holiday, and another is Holi. Holi is again celebrated due to with the goddess. These are the two main festivals where we want if Canadian government can think of and give us some space, give us some time so that we can celebrate. Like in the recent example, this time we celebrated Diwali on 12th of November. Recently, due to the restrictions here in Canada, we were not able to celebrate it properly because here we do not allow to celebrate with the firecrackers. Because in India, generally we do celebrate with the firecrackers just to celebrate things, but here it was a restriction, so we were not able to celebrate it with the firecrackers. Kids were just missing those days in India, like because it was the biggest festival, and we celebrate with our friends, with our neighbors, and with our families. So here we were just alone, and we're just looking for some Indian families who can celebrate with us. We follow the traditions of keeping all our family members together. We believe in the joint families where our brothers, sisters, and mother, fathers, everyone lives together. And even after marriage, our brothers lives with their parents, their kids. So sometime if you will see, there are a family of 15 to 20 members lives in a one house and doing everything together, like the kitchen together, they just cleaning the house together. This time, due to different reasons, it getting diverted to the nuclear family. So people are just extracting from their parents. Their parents are living somewhere else. But in most of the cases, if you will see, the peoples are want to live in a joint family. India, it's criminalized, and you cannot live all together. And sometimes if the society catch you that you are in this type of relationship and you are living in such a house, so they just try to pull you out from the house. They don't want to live in a society or the nearby places. Generally, it's said that it's the men-dominated country, so man has the more power than the women, and women are mainly considered as the homemakers, basically. So in gender, it's mainly more focused on the male, because male is the bread earner, as think of. But now things are changing a bit. Now women are also participating in this role and doing the standby with the men and participating in each and every aspects of their family day-to-day life settlement. In the cities, you will see some improvements in this, but if you'll still go into the rural areas, like 70% of the population lives in the rural areas still in India. So there you will still find these types of the culture where men is taking all the major decisions and women is just following the same. There might be a difference in the upbringing, because whenever a girl child has to go to school, they teachers wants a different role from her, and when a boys or a male goes to the school, they have some different role in the schools. Even in the rural areas, when a girl child is in school, and sometimes they has to just clean their floor as well. But if you'll see the men's side, so they never asked a boy to do these types of activities. So there are lots of differences in the home bringing as well as in the education system in some part of the rural areas. So whenever someone is nodding with his head, so it means he is accepting the things. If he is nodding like this, he is not accepting the things. When he says thumbs up, it means everything is good. And if he wants to go for a pee, so he just pick up the little finger. These are the major things which are related to the schools. Apart from that, like we worship in a different directions, like you have to do this direction. And pointing out the index finger, it's considered as not good sign in India. If someone is angry on you, so that means even if you are saying in a different tone, but in Indians we consider it as a bad things. He is angry on me due to different reasons. So they consider it as very bad. and thumbs down if he'll say that doesn't, it's not looking good. And if someone wants to say okay, so very good, so these are the symbols which we say like it's very good. We do Indians respect for the personal space, and generally we keep a good distance, especially with the women. At least a handful of distance needs to be there with the women. For men, it's not very specific with the distance, but still we keep a good distance with the physical touch with the. But if you are in a family, they usually hug a lot in each and every situation, whenever they are happy, whenever they are sad. So each time, whenever the closest one, they used to try to hug just to express their feelings with each other. Even in school, my daughter used to hug their teachers on a daily basis, like in the morning and in the evening whenever she left the school. I have personally observed like one of the earlier teacher was very kind in that, like maybe her upbringing was in the similar culture, so she was very excited when someone hugs. But the current teacher which she has, she doesn't very proactive when someone hugs her. She just stay quiet in his position, and just students came and hug her, she just stays like this. These are the culture whenever we Indians want to show respect to her, whenever we want to share our emotions, so we generally hug them. Punctuality in India is not very strict. So usually they whatever will be the time for the reaching any sort of events or something like that, they generally tend to reach 30 minutes or 1 hour late over there. Yeah, this is the generally, but they are little strict in terms of professionalism. Whenever there is a business meeting, whenever they have something which cannot be delayed, where one have only the one chance, they do prefer to reach 30 minutes before rather than 30 or 1 hour late. Any silly things happen and it just got piled up with the traffic. So even if a single car broke down on the traffic, the time just developed. If you would reach there in 10 minutes, then it's 20 or 30 minutes with converted. So it's very unpredictable sometimes, and might be, but this times is it a tendency in organizers also knows, like the people, if we'll keep the time at 5 p.m., then people generally will reach at 6 p.m. So this is both ways. So India, I think we generally for 10 kilometers, it takes me around 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes. But here 10 kilometer means 10 minutes. Now our minds are going into this directions, like 10 kilometer means 10 minutes. Even if you will see some cars or some traffic is pile up, you will see, wow, there is a huge traffic today. And India, you generally took 1 hour just to travel 10 kilometers. If you'll talk about in office, if we'll say something like that, like we need some time for our mental health. So generally, it depends like in which type of office you are working. If you are in a IT company or in a high profile organizations, they do understand these things and they allow you to take proper time for your mental health and take rest, and whenever you feel comfortable, then come back. But on the other side, if you will see the same thing on the lower level jobs, they do not care about the mental health for their employees, and they just want their work to be finished on time. So there are different perspectives in different type of roles. If there is a case of mental health, they generally do not want to go to the therapist. They generally go to some traditional way, where they just treat it with some traditional ways, because and they generally do not want to go to the proper therapist who can just treat them. We can add to it, like because of their upbringing, because of the society, and as I said, there are the around 70% populations lives in the rural areas, and rural areas there are no such a things available like the therapist for the mental health, and they cure these things with their traditional ways only. So if you'll talk about the majority of Indians, they generally go to these types of babas, basically we called in India, just to treat these types of illness. So in India, we generally do not do small talks, and smiles is very hard in India. If you smile someone in India, that means something else. Not gesture, it's something else. In India, generally, it means something if you're flirting with someone, if you're smiling with if smiling on someone, and so these are not a good gesture in India. So we generally avoid it. But here in Canada, we feel very good when we talk to strangers, and when we smile onto these different strangers where we don't know anyone, but still they say hi, hello, how are you. So we feel very good here in Canada. This is a very good culture. Alcohol consumption is considered as very negative things in India. And apart from that, the sex discussion or education is considered as a very bad, or not to be in schools. If someone talks in this direction, at home you cannot talk, and these are considered as a bad things. Whereas times are changing, and in some places in northern India, like in the bigger cities, they just started things at home itself, because instead of keep going child in a different directions, or with the bad society or bad this groups, so they just started talk in India these days about the sex education. And again, LGBT is not considered as a good thing, so we do not talk about it. And the sex before marriage is considered as a very bad things in India. So in India, we do not consider we consider it is a bad things if we take divorce with our partner. So generally we try to avoid as possible as, but still if nothing happens, then we took this decision. It's not a must wear, but if we'll talk about the traditional clothing, so traditional clothing, generally women wear saris. The male generally wear kurta and pajamas, the traditional clothing, but there is nothing which you have to wear. But in Muslim regions, they have to wear hijab. In case of Sikhs, who wear a turban and just carry a dagger with them every time, because it belongs to their traditions. Knife with a long curve over there. In most of the cases, if someone is following a religiously Sikhism, then he must have this. And in case of southern part, they generally wear a lungi. We call that as lungi, and on top of that kurta. So there are different tradition. But again, if we'll talk about the must-have, in case of must-have, the Muslims has to wear whenever they go outside from their home, they has to wear this the burqa, basically we call in Hindi. So and even in Sikh religions, they don't cut their hair, they don't cut their beard, so they just usually grow as they are normal, and they just wear turban to just tighten all their hairs. So in Canada, because we came from the city in India, and everything was just, we find it similar in Canada itself, so we didn't find any challenges over it. But apart from little bit, because the accent in India was different, and the accent here in Canada is a little bit different. So initial some days were a little struggling to understand the teachers, like what he's saying, what does it mean. And apart from that, something which as the body gestures needs to be understand with the teacher what he's saying, and rest everything was just fine. So if we'll talk about the academic things between India and Canada, so in specifically if we'll talk about the books and education, so in India there the curriculum is more advanced, and they do practice more advanced topic in the early classes. But here in Canada, they are not up to that level like as of India, but every country has his different way of teaching kids. In India, what we feel is lacking is the overall development was not there. They just focused on the education part, the curriculum part. They always wants to kids, childrens to be updated as the studies more the books, but they are not thinking about the overall developments. And in here in Canada, what I feel, the curriculum is less, no doubt, but the overall development was in a right direction, so that once kids out of the school, so he knows like what is good, what is bad, what are the value of education. So in each and every perspectives, I feel every country has its own pros and cons. So here we feel the overall development is good, but if you'll see the academic things in India is better. Just I think, as I said, the cultural things, emotions which we carry with the Indians students, this needs to be taken care gracefully here in Canada, because as I said, given the examples like my daughter has in practice, even in India, they generally show her emotions with hugging the teachers by whenever they reach school, whenever they left the school. But here, I think might be some teachers has these similar things, but some teachers are not following the same. So I'm very thankful for all the teachers who watch these videos and at least gain something from it, like the culture of India, how students treated over there. And whenever you feel like there are some gaps, so you can just watch this video and at least gain some insight from it to how you can treat in future with all the kids who are coming from the India.